It's the most popular sport in the world, from grassroots all the way up to the elites. Football. Everybody dreams of making it as a footballer from a young age, but the hard truth is that very few ever do. 0.012% of players to be exact. Some players get closer to achieving the dream than others, making it to academies run by elite clubs and offered football scholarships. At any given time there's an average of 11,000 boys in the English academy system, but statistics show that less than 0.5% of those will ever make a living from professional football. Players devote their lives to a club for years, however, can be released in the blink of an eye, and the effects of being let go can have a severe impact on their mental health, and in some cases has even led to suicide. My name's Thomas Arno, a student at Bournemouth University and at one stage one of the 11,000 boys who fell victim to the cutthroat nature of academy football. In this short documentary I look to discover the facts and figures behind this side of the football industry, hearing from both expert researchers and players on their experiences of the not so beautiful side of the game. I started my research by travelling to Nottinghamshire to speak to Tom McGlinchey, a semi-pro footballer and academic associate at Nottingham Trent University, who's currently conducting a PhD on the experiences of released players.
So even before they actually have their meeting about finding out that they've been released, kind of events preceding it can like foreshadow a little bit what's to come for them, and then in a lot of cases it can take quite a lot of time for them to kind of experience the effects of it. So all the players kind of seem to find out in the same way, and that the whole squad will be gathered in a changing room, and one by one they'll be called to a contract meeting to find out whether they've been retained or released. And then they had to go back to see, teammates they might have been playing with for like the last 10 years and tell them, they've been released or not been offered a pro contract, that kind of thing. Sort of like from going from everything to nothing in a split second, and that's kind of how it feels, for these players. They might have been associated with a club for like 12 years, maybe even more than that, and they know the kit man, coaches, all the staff, they know the players, they've been friends and teammates with them for years and years, and kind of within a split second they're no longer part of that football club. What we probably found is the contract meeting itself was like quite a traumatic experience for all of the players. But probably one of the noticeable things is the players that did tend to have quite severe psychological difficulties after, so depression, anxiety, loss of confidence, all that kind of thing. A lot of them didn't tend to experience it till a bit further down the line, so could even be up to like 6 months, even like a year post actually being released, where it kind of really hit them that they weren't a footballer anymore.
The next person I spoke to was former academy player Dylan Gray, who spent time at the likes of Tottenham and Brentford before being denied a scholarship at 16 by Colchester. Did each release impact you differently?
Yeah, I'd say, because they were at different times. So I was at Spurs when I was about 8 and 9. That was my first let go. That was the hardest one. As a young kid that loves football, being rejected by your favourite club is probably the worst thing that can happen. So it made me realise nothing worse could happen. I'd say after I got released from Brentford, it took a mental toll on me. It was like, do I even want to be serious about this anymore? And I was only 12. I was like, do I want to be serious about this anymore? Do I care? I'm just going to give up. And you just turn to your Saturday league teams again.
So what problems did you face, if any, after being released?
I'd say after I got released from Colchester when I was 16, I had, this was in the December, so I was halfway through my GCSE year. So I had my GCSEs to think about, just being released by Colchester. I got into quite a deep spiral of drinking every weekend, like heavy drinking, house parties, not really sleeping much, and just kind of, not a depression I'd say, but just a slump. And it wasn't good. It took me about 3 or 4 months to get out of it.
Were you offered any support by any of the clubs that let you go?
I'd say, because I was actually signed for Colchester. I was playing in the academy at Colchester from 14 to 16. And when I got released after not getting a scholarship, they did give me opportunities at like trial days where scouts would come. But other than that, not really.
So was there any sort of mental support?
Not really. It was just the meeting that we had about the scholarship saying you're not going to get it. We've loved having you here. It's kind of like formality, really. They kind of have to say that, but there was no really real support, to be honest, from them.
Then is that a problem that lies with clubs or governing bodies like the FA?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'd say both, because obviously the club has the responsibility of looking after each player, because they've brought them in. They've asked them to come and they've asked them to leave, so it's their. But the FA, as an umbrella company, should be telling these academies they need to do more.
The third and final person I spoke to was former academy player turned football influencer Louis Matthews about how his academy experiences led to him becoming a football content creator.
I was at a club down the road called Cuffley, and obviously I got scattered by, I can't remember who it was now, but West Ham and Chelsea I think it was at the time, and it was just like literally just going there to just love it. And I feel like it changes a little bit because it's like, oh, I'm going to play for like a top club team that I watch every weekend and bits and pieces, but I don't think there's much of a difference at a young age, but I feel like obviously when you get older it does change. The release thing, I think it's just sort of like a harsh reality. I feel like it's been put and drilled into players to sort of have to get on with it, which is it's not great because it's not great on your mental side, but I think that's what it's come to at the moment for players.
And then, so how does that play on you mentally?
Not obviously for me personally. Like I said, I was quite lucky that I experienced that, and it was a harsh reality when I was obviously young, when I was 7, 8, 9, and it hasn't affected me as much as I'm obviously quite grateful as much as other people that get released at like my age now and 18 and 19, and I can see how that can affect people's mental side of the game, and it's not great. And I feel like clubs have to do better. Clubs have to do better with having that second option instead of just going, okay, you're not good enough. And it's really tough. It's like anything. It's like when a player gets told they're not good enough for anything, it's like, why? And that you ask that question, why, in your head? What, is it not good enough for any other club? And I feel like clubs can definitely do better with having that second option for a player like that to go to. But I can imagine it really does affect someone's mental strength, and it did for me at the time, being so young, like I said. But even growing up, I look back now and I go, oh, maybe I question myself, oh, why am I not good enough? Why is it this? Why is it that? But luckily it hasn't had a massive mental effect on me. But for other players, this is why I'm grateful that it happened to me at such a young age. I think becoming a professional footballer has got a little bit more unrealistic for me. So I've stayed in the football industry, and I've taken another path with social media blowing up and becoming a thing now. So I've taken that route, and obviously I can't complain, it's going really, really well. And I really do think that everything happens for a reason, and okay, maybe I wasn't like caught out to be a pro, but I've taken another industry in the game where I would have been like, oh, you probably bit my hand off about 3 years ago and gone, well, are you going to do this? I'd have been like, no way. But yeah, like I said, it happens for a reason. So.